So let me talk about fasting. I think I started fasting around 2 to 3 years ago, and I was I was at the lowest point in my life, and it was dark, and hopelessness surrounded me, and it was primarily due to the reason that I was addicted to instant gratification of various kinds. I was addicted to junk food. I was hooked to video games. I was hooked to movies. I felt depressed, didn't have any ambition, and all these other symptoms which you see in the typical teenager. Well, I had them too. And that's when I discovered fasting. I vaguely remember coming across a video that spoke about fasting and how fasting changed that individual's life. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a bit exaggerated, but let me give it a shot. Like, what else do I have? Like, I have nothing to lose. And this is my perhaps last shot at redemption. And it worked, I suppose. I still remember I did like a 48-hour fast 3 years ago, and bam, it was like my entire mind was just detoxified, and it's like I got a clean slate. All these instant gratifications that I was hooked to, video games, fast food, etc., etc., they got eroded from my brain. It's like my memory got wiped. And it's like I was a new man, I was born again, and my body was detoxified. And that just made me think. That just made me think that there is a reason why, well, every major religion or every civilization or culture had this element of fasting. It can't be all coincidental. And this element of fasting was somehow tied to spirituality or coming closer to God. Islam has it, Ramadan, Judaism has it, Christianity has it, even Hinduism has an element of fasting. And all these fasts somehow bring you closer to God. So there is a connection. It can't be all coincidental. And I think this is my personal belief that every young man, actually every person should fast, but especially young men who are like in that age bracket of 15 to 23, 24. I think that's where your hormones are just raging. You've found this, you've attained this newfound curiosity and aggression and passion and sexual desires. I think that's when you're the most prone to getting hooked to forms of instant gratification, such as cigarettes, such as junk food, such as pornography, video game addiction. That's where you're the most vulnerable. And that's exactly why you should be fasting as a young man. What fasting does is it tames your instant desires. It tames your hedonistic desires. You're no longer like a volcano just ready to erupt. It soothes you, it mellows you. It brings your thinking mind, rational thinking mind. It puts that in control over your primal hedonistic mind, which just wants that quick dose of instant gratification. And ever since that time, 3 years ago, when I did that 48-hour fast and reset myself, ever since then I have been putting in some amount of fasting in my life. It could be one 24-hour fast a week or two 24-hour fasts a week, or it could be something like a 16-hour fast every single day that I do. There's always been some dose of fasting since then, and I feel greatly disciplined due to that. It's like fasting rejuvenates your ability to say no. I think I had eroded that ability as a young man in my early 20s and late teens. I had eroded that ability. I had no ability to say no to things because instant gratification had just taken a toll on me. I was just like an addict. However, with fasting, those muscles of denying yourself instant pleasure and rather fulfilling your desires with delayed gratification and pleasure that is usually followed by some effort. I think the desire for instant gratification was substituted by that, and it was all due to fasting. I know fasting sounds like starvation and that you're going to have a miserable time doing it and you're going to feel cranky, etc., etc. But trust me, when you do it right, when you do fasting right, and you take it seriously, you actually take it like, hey, this is a medical treatment that I'm doing. And if you take it with that sincerity and you follow the rule book to the T, that means you avoid eating processed food, you eat good food, and you measure the time that you fasted with a stopwatch, and you prioritize in your life and you build your life around it, not forever, but for a couple of months. And you just go through that initial period of suck. I think the first 1 week is going to be bad, and it takes your body a while to adopt to using fat as fuel. That's what happens during fasting. You pretty much go into ketosis and you use ketones. That becomes your source of energy as opposed to, let's say, the food that you're eating. Once you go through that period of adaptation, it becomes easy and convenient, and you feel light and you feel like a monk, and your thoughts go to places that they have never been to. Your mind wanders. And the thing that affects your life immediately comes to the center of your attention. All your priorities immediately come to the center of your attention. You're no longer sedated with junk food. You're no longer numbed out. And this could be a scary feeling for some if you have been sedating yourself or numbing yourself down with junk, video games, porn, drugs, smoking, whatever. When you fast, all these emotions they just come out of their graves. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. But with time, your mind makes sense of them. It clears them out, it adjusts them, it rebases them. And you feel significantly better than you felt before, prior to your fast. So yeah, that has been my experience with fasting. And even to this day, whenever I feel like especially low, or whenever I feel like things are not perhaps going well in my life, fasting is still this tool that I use to renew myself, to rejuvenate myself. It's like getting a second wind. It's like a factory reset that has happened, and I'm fresh and I'm happy again. And I think this has something to do with the way we were built as human beings. Evolutionary psychology, I suppose, or evolutionary biology. I don't know which one is it. It's probably due to the fact that when we as hunters felt hungry, our body rewarded us with more focus, with more energy, and with more dopamine, so that we could actually perform the hunt, right? A depressed hunter is not going to survive. So I think your body does something to you where it secretes a cocktail of neurochemicals that just make you more happy and motivated. And yeah, I think you can leverage that to your advantage in the modern age, right? And I could list like 100 different benefits of fasting. The physical benefits of fasting. Yeah, you lose weight, right? I lost a lot of fat during these 3 years. I lost a lot of fat. I'm very, very lean right now. And my sleep is perfect. I sleep like a baby. Prior to that, I had like insomnia, flipping and turning. But fasting fixed that completely. However, the true benefits of fasting are the mental ones. It's 99% mental, the benefits of fasting that you get. Your self-image improves. Imagine not eating for 24 hours. Your self-image just improves. You feel that if I can avoid food and water for 24 hours, it's much easier to say no to other things. It's much easier to say no to fast food. Much easier to say no to video games. Much easier to say no to pornography. Right? It's not all that challenging once you go without food and water for 24 hours. It renews your mindset. Your self-image just greatly, greatly improves. I also remember not having concentration. Prior to fasting, I used to be this kind of kid who used to just sit on one spot for like 10 minutes and got all fidgety, lost concentration, started looking elsewhere, etc., etc. And I remember timing myself, like how long can I actually sit and study for. And it was embarrassingly short, my study sessions. They were like 20 minutes long before I got like super fidgety or super bored on horn, and I had to focus my attention on something else. However, ever since I started fasting, which in turn removed many forms of instant gratification from my life, such as social media browsing, yeah, that was definitely one of them, I have seen my attention span increase like significantly. After like 3 or 4 months of fasting, I was doing like 4 hours of deep focused work sessions. And I still felt like I could do more. I still felt focused. I still felt that drive in me, that motivation in me to pursue more and more and more. And I would attribute a lot of these things either directly or indirectly to fasting. I think fasting is that fundamental building block, along with sleep, of course. Fasting and sleep are these fundamental building blocks over which you can build a lot of things. But if these blocks are flawed, or these foundational blocks are not up to the mark, it's hard to build things on top of them. Like if your sleep schedule is improper, you're waking up at random times, it's very hard to build a routine, to build a schedule. It's going to be all motivation based, and you're not going to be disciplined, and some days you're going to lack motivation, and some days you're going to crumble completely. So I think you need to get your fundamental blocks in place, and fasting should be one of those fundamental blocks. Like let's say if you're a young man, if you're like in your early 20s, or let's say if you're a teenager or whatever, you need to at least fast once a week. Once a week, you need to do like a 24-hour fast, or long hard fast, and that will just reset you, detoxify you. Now, I'm not saying rest of the week just consume garbage and just fast on one day of the week and it's all gone. No, that's not what I'm saying. I think you should aspire to have a very, very clean diet for the other 6 days, but especially on that one day that you're fasting, that is going to boost a lot of mechanisms in your life, hormonal benefits such as increase in testosterone, GHG, increase in dopamine, and yeah, the next day after the fast, you feel so light, and you have this buzz in your head, this feel-good buzz. You feel really, really good and light. It's like your digestive system finally got a break after like years and years of working, and it thanks you for it. Like imagine this. Ever since the day you were born, you have pretty much been asking your digestive system to work. If you're someone who eats like 4 or 5 or 3 meals a day, you have been asking your digestive system to work non-stop, churning food, digesting food, absorbing nutrients, etc., etc. And once you actually give your digestive system that break, I think your body then allocates its resources, its neural energy into other domains. And one of them is increased focus. So it's an exchange, I suppose. Of course, this might not be scientifically the way it actually works, but I think I'm just giving you a model based on my experiences, and a very simplified model, though not an accurate one. Yeah. So that was my experience with fasting. And if you're watching this video, if you made it this far, and if you feel that you're in a kind of shitty spot in your life, especially when it comes to, let's say, mental health, you're addicted to a bunch of hedonistic desires that you use as a coping mechanism, I strongly suggest that you use fasting as a tool and see the changes in your life. And my personal journey was composed of OMAD, or 1 meal a day. I did 30 days of OMAD. After that big 48-hour fast, I did 30 days of OMAD, 1 meal a day. And this just happened to be during the time of Ramadan, so that was like perfect for me. I was getting my fast done, and I was feeling the benefits of just doing long, hard 24-hour fasts. And I can say this, that it completely just renewed me as a person. I was a whole different person after those 30 days of fasting. I did not associate with my previous identities. I did not relate to the previous version of me, the version of me who was just addicted to instant gratification. It's like fasting truly burned the previous version out of me. Like when you fast, you are going to feel this. You're going to have like some sort of burning sensation. I think it's your body burning up fat or whatever. You are going to feel some sort of burning sensation throughout your body, at least during the initial stages. And I always drew this analogy that my body was burning the weaker version out of me. It was burning the weaker Jibreal, and a new Jibreal was rising. Like atoning for my sins. That's another way to look at it. And once you're done after those 30 days of fasts, 30 days of just burning, shedding all the layers of hedonistic desires that you've piled on for years and years of living a life. Once you've actually shed that away, you feel light, you feel motivated, you feel energetic, you feel like a baby, like I'm newborn. I have crazy amount of energy, I have crazy motivation, I have all these new ideas that I'm passionate about. It's like life got fun once again. Life is fun to live once again. So there you have it, folks. This was my rant on fasting. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. And if you're interested in more content such as this, then do subscribe to the channel. I like to make these videos, sometimes these unfiltered talks, where there's not much edit going on, and there's not a script. I haven't planned this. It's just me spouting my thoughts. Peace.